Meaningful volleyball is all you can ask for if you're the Golden Flashes and the Chippewas as we hit the second half of conference play. Welcome to college volleyball on ESPN+. It's the Kent State Golden Flashes hosting the Central Michigan Chippewas in the first of two this week inside the Mack Center. Good evening, everyone. So happy you could join us on this Thursday night alongside Marana Burles. I'm Dane Richardson. Marana, both these teams are coming off victories, still well in contention for the MAC tournament coming up in November as we now turn to our shelter insurance impact players for tonight's matchup. Central Michigan winners of 3 in a row, and Natalia Raymond's been doing it all on the outside. Central
Michigan is going to look to their senior leader, Natalia Raymond. In just 6 sets, she had 33 kills and 22 digs. She averaged an impressive 5.5 kills per set to help lead the Chips last weekend against Akron. Since MAC play began, she has averaged 3.3 kills per set, which is 8th best in the conference.
Raymond, first team All-MAC performer last season. As for Kent State, they swept Miami in their most recent matchup, and freshman right side Macy Moreland had a fantastic game.
In a competitive matchup with Miami, freshman Macy Moreland had a solid weekend. She had 28 kills over the 2 games and hit .312. She had a career-high 15 kills in the first game against Miami, and then in the second game, she had another 13 kills, which was her best 2-game weekend of her young career.
It's now time to turn to our Keller Williams Bethune Realty Keys to Victory. Marana first for Central Michigan.
The Chips play their best volleyball when they can set their middles. Both middles are hitting over 300 on the season and are able to put the ball away. This past weekend, we saw a lot of the Chips offense be run through Raymond, but for continued success this week, they need to find a way to keep Olin and the other middles involved.
What do you have for Kent State?
For the Golden Flashes to win tonight, they have to find a way to limit their errors. Coach Eckerman is okay with a couple of hitting errors here and there, but Kent State had 11 in the second set of their victory last week. They also had a combined 17 service errors across the game. Kent State is looking to clean up the errors for tonight to win tonight.
We take a look at the Chippewas head coach in her first season, Arielle Wilson, coming over after she was the defensive coordinator and recruiting coordinator at Missouri. A legend in her own right when she was playing on the court. We've talked a lot about Haley Eckerman and her career, winning a national championship at Texas. Well, Arielle Wilson won all 4 years when she was coached by the legendary Russ Rose at Penn State. As now we take a look at Haley Eckerman. It's 90s night, of course, so Coach Eckerman with a little bit of a throwback as we're ready to get underway here from the Mack Center. It'll be the Chippewas on the serve with their setter, Keelan Mill. Central Michigan running that 5-1 system and a rejection right off the jump from Adeline Ginley.
That's what Kent State needs to start this set off, getting a block on Central Michigan's middle hitters because they are so effective when they are hitting as Adeline Ginley turns away Connor.
That's Ginley's 26th solo block of the season, 6 away from cracking single-season top 10 in program history. And a great start continues. Macy Moreland, she was our player to watch. She's hit 300 in 2 consecutive games.
Moreland has had hot starts to the last couple of games, slows down a little bit in the middle, but looking to keep her going here today.
Haley Brenner back at the service line. We'll talk about it later on in the broadcast, but Brenner last weekend, for the first time, was moved into that libero jersey. And it's a switch that has benefited KSU as their service ace number 24 on the season for Brenner.
Brenner has been quiet behind the line as of recently, but has an incredible serve, leads the team in aces, and just finds the back line there.
Hadn't had an ace in her last 3 contests coming into this one, as she gets her 29th service error this season, giving Central Michigan their first point. We'll see a sub. Izzy Sweers comes in the back row for Taylor Kripe. That's something Arielle Wilson talked to us about before the game. Sweers has played front row for most of the year, and she provides a back row attack threat for CMU. And an ace as well.
Coach Wilson talks about how a lot of her players have a lot of strengths, but sometimes it's nice to just break up those 6 rotations, and having Izzy Sweers and Taylor Kripe allows them to do that as Natalia Raymond plays that 6th rotation, the other 2 split time.
Out of system for the second play in a row is Kent State, but McGuire earns her first kill.
McGuire getting crafty early on in this set. We've seen her hit with power, but a nice little roll shot over the block there to find the middle of the court.
Mackenzie McGuire, the senior from Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, she's on record watch with that kill. She now needs 8 more to move into sole possession of 6 all-time. Over 1,200 kills in her Kent State career. Raymond on the outside. That's something she does so well. Standing at only 5'10", her placement, especially in the back corner, is so good.
Central Michigan has some undersized hitters on their pins on the outside. Abby Olin not undersized at all on the right side, but I just want to talk about Swears with the set there. She set that ball beautifully into the spot for Raymond to hit.
Some of these players, you have to remember, they were their do-it-all, do-everything players for their teams in high school. So when it comes down to it, they might have more skills than you think. Is some mistimed run right there for Kent State, ties the game at 4. Raymond's coming off a MAC Offensive Player of the Week performance. Mill, the MAC Setter of the Week. We mentioned Central Michigan had won 3 in a row coming into this game. A game ahead of Kent State in MAC play, and an ace, this time courtesy of Rainey Wademan.
Central Michigan being aggressive on the serve, that is something that they are good at. They are 3rd in the conference in aces.
Already up to 131 on the season with 2 tonight. Kent State stays in system here. Miller on the tip, but Wademan covers. Hill pushes to the outside, and McGuire goes with the tip as well. That's something we'll get to in just a moment. And we talked about that back row attack. There's Swears. Ariel Wilson told us when it came to keys to the game, one of the things she mentioned was not only timing on the block, but covering tips, making sure her back row is ready for that. They have been so far.
They've done a great job just reading Mackenzie McGuire, who hasn't gone power at all here tonight, but has been crafty with their tips.
Nearly hit over the block. Central Michigan plays it well. Miller, the slide was right there, and she delivers.
Nadia Miller loves to run the slide when Christina Hill is in the front row. We see her go with it there and successful with the kill.
Nadia Miller reaching 100 kills on the season last weekend against Miami. Had a career high 14 kills a week ago today in that 5-set loss to the Red Hawks. How about a middle setting, nearly an assist. But a great dig by Katie Patterson. Olin on the right side, that's too long, no touch, so the point goes to the Flashes. I was gonna say, not only did we see Swears with a great set, but that was Grace Thomas looking like a natural setter there.
Anyone's a setter on Central Michigan is what I've seen here today.
McGuire elects to go short, made a middle pass it, and it gets Kent State right in system. There's a hole in the block for Miller, nearly hit it through Swears. Somehow kept in the air. Great fight here shown by KSU. Hill, a dump, and it's there. What a point for the Flashes.
Golden Flashes find a way to keep this ball alive as we look at this. Brown gets it up. Katie Patterson diving everywhere, keeps it alive. Hill finishes off with a dump.
McGuire aims to keep the momentum going. Hill goes a long way to cover it. Mercedes Brown has her first kill.
Everyone getting excited here for Kent State. Everyone getting their touches, finding ways to get kills. As we've seen Mercedes Brown just putting that in the middle of the court.
Haley Eckerman told us earlier this week that the difference against Miami was that their defense was much better. They were winning the long rallies. Miller just out of reach right there as the Chippewas get back within 1. And the statistics show that. On Friday, or should I say on Thursday, in the 5-set loss to Miami, Haley Brenner and Katie Patterson combined for 45 digs. Both career highs, Brenner with 25, Patterson with 20. From the 10-foot line, Raymond goes right down the line, but McGuire is there. Quick set, had to tip it, was Raymond. Tough break there for Mercedes Brown. Timing was off, and when that happens, it makes it very easy for the middle blocker to put it down.
You were talking about earlier the digs that Kent State had this past weekend. We've seen their scrappiness on display here today. As you look at their defense, they play a little bit different than you would normally expect, as right now, Mackenzie McGuire is playing right back, Haley Brenner's playing middle back, and Katie Patterson, who usually plays right back, is on the left. So changing things up a little bit when we saw Haley Brenner go to that libero jersey last weekend.
Miller tips it right at Olin, who's played middle most of the year. Good block by Miller, somehow kept in the air by CMU. V-Hill outside, Mercedes Brown off the top of the block. And the point for KSU. CMU is clearly making an effort to go after McGuire in service Eve. What do you make of that?
It's a smart move. In your scouting report, you see the players that you need to go after. Earlier, it was Leslie Ferruta when she was in the back row. Now it's Mackenzie McGuire, an ace there by Kent State. But Haley Brenner was brought into that libero jersey because of her serve receive and that presence that she brings. So serving her doesn't make a lot of sense for Central Michigan.
An ace off the right arm of Nadia Miller. Both teams with multiple aces so far. We've only played 19 points. Kent State looking for 3 in a row, but McGuire sails that out of play. We've talked about the service aces coming into this match. Barani, you said Central Michigan 3rd in the conference in aces at 129, but they're also tied for last in the conference in the amount of aces they give up. So the serve and pass game, very volatile for them. Backslide, Ginley, a great dig by Raymond. Overpass unable to be finished by V-Hill. What a touch by Brenner. Can Brown win it with a tip? She will. Beautiful play.
Great up there by Haley Brenner. She finds a way to get 2 hands on that overhead. And then Mercedes Brown finishing it. Tip.
Kent State back to 3 hitters in the front row with V-Hill serving. Take the center out of play. Ooh, might have bailed Grace Thomas out there. Just a discombobulated point if you're Kent State. Brooklyn Connor comes in as the second middle. Wademan will be out of the game for the time being. Quick set outside. Kripe got the top of the tape. Moreland had a hole in the block, and it's a net violation on the Chippewas.
Kripe not happy that she was called in the net there. Doesn't necessarily think that she did, but will not use a challenge on this ball.
It's awfully close. I would lean toward the side of that she did. You'll see Central Michigan run a 2 libero system with Langton and Wademan, which Kent State did for some time. Central Michigan earns that point, and a tough looking play on the net for KSU. Haley Brenner is now taken over the sole libero spot for Kent State, where it used to be Greta Bolognini and Leslie Ferruta. V-Hill did not get her best set on that one to McGuire, and Central Michigan immediately takes advantage with Brooklyn Connor.
Connor just does such a great job on this set. She's early, but she's able to just hang in the air and tip that ball down.
Connor, go ahead, Marana.
You mentioned earlier the 2 libero system that Kent State used to be at. They used to have Leslie Ferruta kind of in that serve-receive spot, and then Greta Bolognini in the defensive spot. But moving to Haley Brenner brings both of those options. She's a well-rounded passer and as a defensive specialist as well. The one thing they lose with Haley Brenner in the libero jersey is that back row attack that she likes to do.
Brenner with a pass on target there, and Ginley, ooh. Kent State thought there was a touch, and Haley Eckerman's going to go to the challenge card here. It's a big point. You could either cut it to 1, or this is a 3-point game. We were about to send it to break, but I believe Haley Eckerman's going to ask for a challenge. And it's a touch is the ruling. So it looks like they may have just...
Looks like they're challenging for a touch. Currently was called no touch, but Haley Eckerman calling for a touch. looks like they will go.
We'll take a timeout. We'll have the result when we come back. Central Michigan, as of right now, up by 3 here in the first set from the Mack Center. Stay right here. College volleyball on ESPN+. Welcome back. Kent State going with the challenge, and Haley Eckerman succeeded in that challenge. That was a touch on the swing by Adeline Ginley. Keelan Mill got a piece of it as you take a look at it right here. Quickly back into the action and a hitting air on the right side. Just like that, Kent State ties it at 14. And that's an important challenge by Haley Eckerman. A big swing there, especially toward the middle of the set when you're trying to find momentum.
A big swing in points, but then also that momentum that you talked about is now Kent State wins the next point off a hitting error.
Beautiful run on the outside. Taylor Kripe only at 5'8", but you can see the power she has.
Taylor Kripe doesn't care how tall she is. She will swing at that ball and swing aggressively.
If you're going to be that tall and be a successful hitter at the Division I level, got to have ups. She clearly does. Quick set to Miller. Getting a piece of it is Connor. Free ball for KSU. Right side, Moreland down the line. Line judge had some difficulty, but you do believe that one was out because Langton was right there with her foot on the line.
Langton was ready on the line for this ball, so she's not quite out there.
Oh my,
ooh, that
ball was in.
At first I did think it was out on
that ball was clearly
watch.
in. Maybe the angle Kent State on the opposing side as McGuire earns the tool. But I think Central Michigan's very fortunate that their bench is on this side, because if the Kent State bench was on the other side, that's an easy challenge.
I'm also kind of surprised that Coach Eckerman didn't challenge that. More so that Moreland didn't advocate for herself that that ball was in.
Outside, Kripe projected up front. That's Vinny Hill.
We saw the block be aggressive early to start. Been a little bit quiet, but V Hill getting up there and firing up her team as we see her come down from this huge block against Raymond.
That was Raymond in the front row instead of Kripe. Sweers is now in the back row. Perfect pass on target. They like to run that quick ball with Raymond. Backslide, Miller, Langton hits it into the air, and Central Michigan can't do much with that as Kent State retakes the lead.
Overall, that was a great play by Kent State. Haley Brenner does an incredible job just running down this ball, keeping it alive as initially Patterson let it go, and then Nadia Miller on the slide had no blockers in front of her.
V Hill on the overpass, couldn't put it away. Brooklyn Connor can. Connor will come out as we take a look at that previous point that you were talking about, Marana.
Just a great play there for V Hill to acknowledge that she doesn't have any blockers on that right side and allows Nadia Miller to run the slide.
High ball from Patterson to McGuire, and Sweers probably should have let Wademan go take that one. McGuire racking up those kills once again. She's slowly inching her way up the top 10 kills list in Kent State volleyball history. Has a few tonight, needing 9 coming into this game to move into sole possession of 6th.
Smart play here by Natalia Raymond, just going deep line for that spot. We saw Brenner run it down earlier, but unable to get a solid contact on that play.
Good platform from McGuire. Brown on the outside, and Central Michigan's got to be frustrated with that one. That was a roll shot.
Miscommunication there on who was going to take that ball, but Mercedes Brown is a smart player. She sees the court and how they are running things.
Hitting it away from the libero is usually the smarter option. CMU runs a backslide of their own, and Kent State's back row a little slow to get there. Patterson points to herself and says, "My bad."
Just a great play overall by Central Michigan, just to see the other side of the court as we talked about, and just seeing, oh, there's no libero in that back row. So a tip shot is a great option against a middle defender.
Joust at the net. Kinley on the set, and Brown goes down the line for the kill. Who said middles can't set?
That's something we hadn't said, because we were talking about Central Michigan and their middles and how they were setting the ball. Adeline Ginley wanted it on the fawn, gets herself an assist.
For Ginley, that's her 2nd assist all season. Comes at a great time. Another backslide. That's the 2nd time that has worked. Once with Connor, the 2nd with Thomas. Not much of a block there, and that makes it a very easy opportunity.
Central Michigan does so well running their middles as they get another kill there. Grace Thomas 4 for 4. Swings and kills.
Not a great pass from Brown. She'll get it right back. Out of system are the Chippewas. Can the Flashes capitalize? Moreland right side off the tape. Raymond in the back row. Vigil just couldn't get out of the way. That ball was likely going out of play. And what's interesting is that neither coach has used a timeout so far. You would assume as whichever team gets to 23 or 24 first, that will change. But it's been even Steven this entire set, and an overpass, and now we might see a timeout, and Haley Eckerman calls one.
A close first set as we finally see someone start to break away. I say that as it's a 2-point lead for Central Michigan, but this is a crucial point for momentum. 20-22 late in this first set, and whoever takes this first set is going to go into the second with a ton of momentum.
Marana, we saw in Kent State's most recent home game, Ohio took that momentum after the first close set and went off and running. As we take a look at the Week 8 MAC Players of the Week, Natalia Raymond, the Offensive Player of the Week, Keelan Mill, MAC Setter of the Week, 79 assists in just 2 matches in 6 sets last weekend against Akron. Both those 2 players were great.
You look at these stats, you would think they probably played 2 4-set matches. No, those are 2 sweeps over Akron. In the first game against Akron, they had 21 kills in the second set. 21 of the 25 points came from a Central Michigan kill.
And Mill, what was interesting about that, averaged 13 assists per set. If that thing went 5 sets, that would be around 65 assists. Pretty remarkable. The efficiency numbers that Central Michigan was able to put up. We talked so much about their middles, both top 5 in hitting percentage with Thomas and Connor, but Raymond was getting it done on the outside as well. As this is the biggest momentum that Central Michigan has grasped so far in this match. The small advantage for Kent State right now is that Wademan and Langton are out of the game with the middle Thomas on the serve. Not a disadvantage, I guess. Thomas with the ace. She came into this match with 24 in the season. Kind of a sinking line drive, almost a knuckleball type serve. She's making her impact felt tonight. It's one way to end momentum.
Kent State lucky there as they got aced and then a service error, which kind of bails them out of that rotation that they were in with Thomas serving. Now trying trying to find a way to gain some momentum, go on a run of their own with Ferruda back to serve.
And this is a very good rotation for the Flashes. 3 front row hitters, Moreland, Ginley, and McGuire. Joust on the net. McGuire was ready. It's a 1-point game.
It's a great rotation for the Flashes. Central Michigan, they have a front row setter as well, so they don't have those 3 options in the front row. Obviously, we've seen so far in this game, they are not afraid to go to the back row, but a little out of sorts there.
A really costly service here from Ferruda, a little too long, and now it's set point for CMU. Mill off the tape, Ferruda is there. Moreland, a great dig by Langton, overpass, and Ginley will win it.
Moreland doing a great job. May not be credited with the kill here, but she sets up this ball for Ginley to put it away, and she's just waiting there at the net.
Brenner already with 1 service ace in this set, trying to keep the Flashes alive. Keeps it in the court. In system are the Chippewas. Overpass, and the Chippewas on their second set point win the first set, narrowly 25-23.
A competitive first set between these two teams. We haven't seen much momentum shift until a little bit at the end there, but even then, that was only a couple of points. So Kent State very much still in this, even though they lost the first set.
Set number 2 coming on up. It's the Chippewas with a 1-set lead. Don't go anywhere. College volleyball inside the Mack Center on ESPN. Welcome back. Set number 2 coming on up here inside the Mack Center. Central Michigan just narrowly winning that first set 25-23. The story in that first set, Kent State hit 306, yet they lost the set, likely due to giving up 5 service aces to the Chippewas.
Take a look at that number, 5 service aces in 1 set. Some teams are happy with 5 service aces in a game, but Central Michigan had 5 in that set. So in a set that goes 25-23, that's an area that Kent State is looking to clean up on their serve receive. You can't just be giving up free points in the ace realm.
Marana, that's not even counting the amount of near service aces that Central Michigan had that got Kent State out of system. So although Central Michigan hit 250, they had some good swings. They only win by 2 points. That serve game was the large reason why the Chippewas took the first set, because you take a look at the hitting percentages, the blocks, all the other stats. Kent State won there, but the serve and pass game is arguably the biggest part of it.
Coaches will talk about how serve and pass is the most important part of the game because everything comes after the serve and pass game. If you can't get a serve in, there's no way you can get a point. If you can't pass the ball, there's no point and there's no way that you can run your offense. And Central Michigan just took a full hold of that as we see here tonight Alina Anderson making an appearance in the libero jersey for Central Michigan.
We'll get to Anderson in just a moment. Central Michigan in system on the first point of the second set. And it's Olin who earns the kill on the outside. Marana, you just pointed it out. Alina Anderson, she hasn't played since September 26th. That came against Western Michigan. Those were on the nights of 2 back-to-back 5-set losses, one to Northern Illinois, the other to Western Michigan. She started the year mainly as their libero, so I'm very interested to see if this is going to be a 2 libero system or they're just going to roll with Anderson like they have all year. Excellent job keeping it alive by Kent State. Back row, McGuire keeps her toes behind the line but couldn't even get it over. It's a point to the Chippewas.
Patterson laying out for this ball early on in the block coverage. Kent State just showing their defense, showing how scrappy they are, but unable to find success with the swing from McGuire.
Outside, Mercedes Brown had 5 kills in the first set, and she's got number 6.
Mercedes Brown going high hands there. You can just see the power behind it. Finds the top of the hands, gets herself a kill.
In that 5-set loss to Miami a week ago today, Brown did have a career high 16 kills and an ace.
Nadia Miller, a very strong server for Kent State. She also tends to make a lot of errors, so it's a very high risk, high reward serve with Miller. She gets herself an ace there.
Second ace of the match for the sophomore middle from Bowling Green. Swears always a threat in the back row. That is something Central Michigan did a decent job of in the first set. Despite hitting 250, they really limited the hitting errors. They did not hurt themselves too much in that first set.
Central Michigan, if they weren't running their middles, they were running the ball out of the back row.
That is a nasty serve from Nadia Miller. Going all over the place. She's got her third ace. Watch this. Oh, the movement on that.
Nadia Miller just sneaks that ball over the net and it just floats.
Continuing to attack Anderson at the libero spot, and Kent State is caught sleeping.
Patterson not ready for the dump there. Maybe because Central Michigan hadn't gotten a pass off of Nadia Miller's serve at all.
You catch the momentum of an ace, you almost expect Miller's serve to get Central out of system. McGuire right on target. Vigil tries to do the same, cannot. Outside, Brown off the top of the block. Right side, Olin. Brown got a piece. Who's going to finish the long rally? On the outside, Central will. That's Raymond who put it off the block.
Raymond doing a nice job here, turning this ball down the line and just finding the right hand of Christina Vigil.
Right into the arms of Patterson. Vigil won the joust. The defense is Haley Eckerman. She's going to go and ask Christina Vigil to talk to the ump referee about something. Clearly was a Central Michigan point.
So in this rally, at the very beginning of it, the line judge right in front of the server signaled that there was a foot fault, which is something you don't see a lot in the college game. You see it a lot more on the club, high school level, but the up ref either didn't acknowledge him or pushed it off. So I'm interested to see what they're talking about here.
That is a great question because I'll be frank, how can the up ref potentially, I don't think, could they rule the line judge off there? They could. They do have the power to. They also have a pretty decent view. Central Michigan point, we're back into play. Outside, not much Central can do with it, and that's outside the antenna.
This time the line judge does get his call. Very similar call with waving the flag, but this time pointing at the antenna instead of pointing at the line.
I'll tell you what, it's not easy to be a line judge. It's a lot of pressure on you. You got the whole bench looking at you.
Whenever I'm officiating the game, I never will do a line. I'll do the book, I'll up ref, I'll down ref, but I will not be doing the line.
Natalia Raymond had some anger on that volleyball as she slams it down for the Chippewa point.
We haven't seen this offense as much be run through the outsides in the front row, but Raymond makes it a point that she is there and that she is a great option for the Chips.
Behill covers a lot of ground. Central Michigan looking for 2 in a row, and they'll get it. Raymond swings away on the previous point. This time she goes soft, and she's 2 for 2.
Kent State struggling a little bit here today, reading the tips from Central Michigan, whether it's a dump or just a tip over the net. They've been having trouble with those short balls.
Moreland goes down the line. That's great placement. Haley Eckerman had talked about what the freshman has learned and said she's learning to see the other side of the court. In the beginning, Moreland was just swinging straight ahead. Now she's really learning to see the block, and that was a great example of it right there.
Coach Eckerman says that sometimes I forget that she's just a freshman. And Macy Moreland has had such a large impact this season that it's easy to forget that she is a freshman.
I'll tell you what, the tempo of this Central Michigan system is really starting to stand out. Backslide, and there's just nothing there to prevent that swing from Thomas.
Even on that backslide, it's not a traditional slide where they're going all the way out to the pin. They bring it in almost like a back 1 or a back 2 and hit that ball. So not something Kent State was expecting.
Ginley down the middle, great touch by Langton. Ginley a little too far, had to go with her left hand, but this should be a free ball for Kent State, or is it? Moreland with another crack at it, and she's rejected. That was Thomas up there. Moreland had a lot of cross court to go to, and quite frankly, she's probably used to having that cross court taken away. Both blockers went line, and she was blocked.
Moreland was pushed pretty far in on this ball, so when she tries to go down the line and maybe mix things up, she's met with the block, as Central Michigan has started to gain a lot of momentum here, especially with that block.
Kent State calls timeout as McGuire is sent back. We'll step aside. The Chippewas with a 4-point lead here in set number 2. Kent State looking to climb back and find some momentum here on E+. Welcome back here in set number 2. Natalia Raymond, reigning MAC Offensive Player of the Week. She's lived up to that so far, especially in the second set. The fast tempo has really stood out here, Marana.
Raymond up to 7 kills already here today, 4 digs to go along with that. But Raymond is all over the place. You see her with that aggressive swing there, but she'll also do roll shots, and she moves all around the court.
Great effort from Haley Brenner, but once again, this serve game, it's Raymond back on the service line this time. Funny enough, has really gotten Kent State out of system. That was one of the Golden Flashes' keys, is get Central Michigan out of system, because when they get that fast tempo going, they're tough to stop. Moreland right side, swings away, it's dug out off the top of the scoreboard, and that benefited the Flashes a much needed point.
Moreland with a little help of the scoreboard. That ball hung in the air for a while before it hit the scoreboard, but right away it just comes down fast.
Thomas was just trying to get out of the way. That's got to be the worst feeling as a middle. Brenner serves it out of play. That's another thing I'll touch on, right? Kent State's looking for some momentum. Now they're back down by 5, and you think on one of the biggest plays of the set, in set number 1, Ferruta serves it out of play and gives CMU set point.
Kent State has struggled all season with service errors. We saw it last weekend with 17 combined, and more here tonight.
Nadia Miller buries that one to the floor. Still early in the set, and we've seen Miller get more and more total attacks throughout the season, and that has generally been a positive thing for this Golden Flashes offense. It certainly means they're passing better. Patterson with a sinking line drive. Coach Eckerman likes it, Flashes in system, quick set to McGuire, tip is blocked. High ball for the senior, can't put it away. Back row, Swears, what a dig by Patterson. Rainbows into the air for Brenner, and Kent State keeps it alive. In the middle, Central wins it, it's Brooklyn Connor.
Great defense by both sides here, tracking down balls. A lot of high defensive plays as we take a look at Patterson keeping this ball alive. Hard to track down, it was up in the rafters, but Central Michigan in their middles will put the ball down every single time.
The Hill with a slide, Miller with room, she just missed it, wanted the touch, doesn't get it. And Central's really starting to open up a lead here. The largest lead of the match for either team, they lead by 6.
One player that Kent State needs to get going is Mackenzie McGuire. She only has 3 kills on the night, and it's a player who will bring energy and will help carry her team, but so far hasn't been able to get anything going.
Great hustle by the Flashes, but this has been some of the issue. That'll help it. Mackenzie McGuire says, I'll take care of business at the net.
If you're gonna get energy, if you're gonna get momentum, that's how you do it. A huge solo stuff on the right side, Abby Olin.
Just the 7th solo block for McGuire on the year. She heads to the back row. Huge space for Olin, and it really puts McGuire in a tough spot there, Marana.
That's a hard ball. There's only one blocker up, Mercedes Brown, undersized blocker too. So Mackenzie McGuire is just getting the full force of Olin as she was lined up on the outside of Brown's hand.
Kent State in conference play, 2nd in blocks per set. But so far, that has not been a strength of their game tonight. And time again, if it weren't for that McGuire block, it would have been the story of the Central Michigan service game is getting Kent State out of system, and that's why the lead has ballooned here in set number 2.
Kent State just struggling on the serve, whether it's an error or just getting them out of system. They are just having a hard time defending and just playing the ball.
Looking to start a run. Miller will on the tip. She's been Kent State's best hitter here in the 2nd set.
Miller has really been the only one getting things going here in this 2nd set, as you mentioned there. Her 4th kill, her 10th attempt.
Miller serves aggressively. One way to get back in it. And the back row attack of Izzy Swears. Swears came into this game with 148 kills. Only has 2 tonight. And if you think about it, if you have 3 hitters in the front row, when you have Swears in the back, you essentially have 4. Brown did not get all of that. Instead got too much of it. And a timeout by Haley Eckerman.
Kent State has to find a way to regroup. Even if this set isn't something that's attainable for them, they have to find a way to change their mindset and go into the 3rd set with momentum. We talked about it earlier, how it kind of reminded us of the Ohio game. And I would say that's a pretty valid comparison to be made here, as Kent State neck and neck in the first set, and then the other team just runs away with it in the second set.
That Ohio team, who we called a week and a half ago back, has gone on a 5-game winning streak since they played Kent State. As we take a look at the season recap for Central Michigan, played in 4 invitational tournaments, which is usual. BYU, Milwaukee, Bradley, your alma mater, Marana, and Penn State, of course, Ariel Wilson. That's her alma mater. Only 5 home matches this season. For Kent State, it's only their 4th. They've won 3 straight matches, 4 of their last 5. But what's interesting, Central Michigan is 0-3 in 5-set matches. A few of their MAC losses very well could have gone the other way. So their 4-5 MAC record might be a little deceiving with how many teams they've actually competed with in the Mid-American Conference.
Central Michigan came into the season picked to finish 3rd in the Mid-American Conference. That was a very different story, as turning around after going into the first week of MAC play, they were 10th in the conference.
Yeah.
But since then, they've gained momentum, they've gained confidence, as Coach Wilson talked about, and it's been a different story for this team.
Central Michigan had a fantastic season last year, 24-7, 15-3 in the conference. Mike Golick, their previous head coach, left to become an assistant at the pro level with the Grand Rapids Rise. Central Michigan keeps on keeping on. It's Raymond on the outside.
Raymond just punching this ball into the floor, so aggressive. She just goes to the side of the block to get that kill.
One of the better passes we've seen all set for Kent State, but missed timing on the slide, and everything's going wrong right now for the Flashes. It's a 10-point deficit, and right now you're probably just looking for some momentum you can find to translate to set 3 at this point.
As you said, just trying to find some momentum. That will help Kent State start to try and find some momentum with the service error, but for Kent State, they need to find a way to not miss their serve here and then keep going, gaining some points here, and go on a little bit of a run.
Force Central to maybe use the timeout. Perfect pass, good set, on the tip, covered by Brenner. Cover wasn't there for V-Hill. It's a tough play for Moreland, especially, and for those that aren't as in tune with the game, Marana, when the set is off target, a lot of times it takes the middle out of the play, right?
The middle is generally not an option if the set is not, or if the pass is not a great enough ball. We'll see it a little bit more when the setter's in the front row. There's a little bit more wiggle room on the slide, but the middles have not been able to really get involved as much as they want to. We saw Nadia Miller doing a great job, but Adeline Ginley hasn't had a ton of success here tonight. V-Hill called over the net there as she went up to set the ball, and it went over for back row attack, but Kent State trying to find something positive in this set.
A dominant set here for the Chippewas, needing only 2 more points to finish it off. I'll have to wait for just a moment. Mercedes Brown, Kent State's leader tonight offensively. A little bit of frustration, it seems like she let out on that ball. Just hit it right through the block.
7 kills already for her in this second set. Kent State not really able to get anything going. She has 1/3 of the team's kills.
It has to be frustrating for Kent State when you hit 306 in a set. You're just unable to come out on top, as this clearly is not their best volleyball. Backslide, McGuire got the piece of the block, but it went off the antenna. Kent State saw a fast system against Akron, but Central Michigan also runs a very fast tempo. They've been successful with it tonight.
A big difference there is just the blocking. In the game against Akron, they were able to shut down their outsides with a strong blocking game. Kent State has not blocked well here tonight, and Central Michigan has done the opposite. They've had a great blocking day.
And a wondrous second set for Central Michigan, 25-12 from start to finish. Domination as they're a set away from a sweep here on the road in the first of 2 from the MAC Center. Stay right here, Kent State. Look at them on a big comeback here at home. Joined here on Flash Talk by Kent State wide receiver and star kickoff returner Darylis Clark. Darylis, really appreciate you joining me on Flash Talk. A couple kickoff returns for touchdowns this year. You lead the country in that stat. One against Merrimack, one against UMass this past weekend. Describe to me what was going through your head when you returned that kickoff this past weekend.
Well, off rip, the energy, as soon as I walked into the building that morning, I just felt it. I felt that something's coming. I knew something was coming, and it just happened to be the kickoff return that day. He kicked that ball off. I seen it was short, and I was like, I'm about to take it to the crib. I'm about to go straight to the crib. Caught it, seen Jose Kimbrough get the lead block, and I took it from there.
Yeah, and take me through also that kickoff return for a touchdown against Merrimack. Obviously, that was huge. It was the game winner. You guys were down.
The difference between the Merrimack kickoff and the UMass kickoff is Merrimack was flying down the field. They act like they wanted to make a play. We came with our match return to the right. I'm like, man, I'm about to make a play. I'm a playmaker. I'm about to make a play. I got the ball. I seen the hole, broke a couple of tackles, and just took off and went to the crib. That's how that's supposed to be, like, every single time I touch the ball.
And take me through the balance of your preparation, kind of reading through that with your special teams coordinator, CJ Conrad, and when you kind of know, all right, I need to turn on the jets here. This is where I should burst.
Whenever we need a spark on any point during the game, whether it be the beginning of the game or the end of the game, I just know it's time to go. He lets me know, like, take this out. You got it, You can go make a play. You're a playmaker. So whenever I get the chance, it's every chance that I get.
Darylis, you played at the D3 level with Defiance, Butler Community College. Did you envision yourself 1 or 2 years ago at the Division I FBS level making the type of impact you are now?
Well, to start off, when I was at the Division III level, before I even went to the Division III level, I wasn't planning on playing college football. I had some people talk my head up. And so when I got to the Division III level and I dominated on that level, then I realized I can take it much further. So I decided to transfer JUCO. And I took a chance on myself. Went out to Butler Community College in El Dorado, Kansas. Redshirted a year, developed a little bit. After that, I played, and obviously it's the same impact here. At Butler Community College, I was an All-American kick returner. It's translating at every division.
You had that kickoff return against UMass. It's getting retweeted by Bleacher Report, Sports Center, and a lot of people love the name Darylis. So what has it been like getting that publicity on social media?
It's definitely a confidence booster, man, knowing that people are looking at me and expecting me to make plays every week. Well, it's feeling good. I'm just trying to get my name out there, let the NFL scouts know that I'm a playmaker I've been a playmaker on every division, every level. For the little kids back at home, whether it be the youth sports, the middle schoolers, the high schoolers, I know they have somebody to look up to. So when they see something go across their Instagram page and it's Darylis and he's from Lima, I feel like it gives them a little inspiration that they can do it too.
Darylis Clark, Darylis, we really appreciate the time.
Appreciate the invite.
Let's take a look at the match stats. Central Michigan in the lead in kills by 6, 27-21. And how amazing is that? Kent State hits 300 in the first set, then just a set later, hitting just over 100. Moreland off. The diving attempt from Mill, and Kent State earns the first point. And that's a start after an ugly second set for the Golden Flashes. But you probably like that long break that they had to maybe talk things out.
Hopefully in that little intermission between the second and third set, Kent State is able to regroup. It was a good start for them in this second set as Macy Moreland gets a kill, and now we have a service ace by Haley Brenner. So hopefully this is positive momentum for Kent State.
Brenner now with her second service ace of the night as Kent State takes a 2-0 lead here in set 3. Low line drive on the dump. Keelan Mill. She's been sneaky with that play all night. That's her third kill on a dump this evening. And it seems like that back row's sleeping. If you're a back row player, Murata, how do you try and stay prepared when the setter even goes to the 10-foot line like that?
I think Kent State just needs to find a way to stay on their toes a little bit, stay more balanced. They aren't ready for her to attack the ball in that manner, even though she is back row, but they have to be prepared. She's done it a couple times tonight. They've gotten beat on the tips, so it's a hard thing to expect when Central Michigan has done a great job of attacking aggressively with the ball, but they also have to be ready for that tip, especially on the second ball.
Third kill of the night for Abby Olin, ties the third set at 2. Hustling to get it is V. Hill. McGuire's been quiet all night. That continues on that swing. Miller looked like she was going to set. How about that, Deke? Instead, turns at the last moment and pushes it over for another kill.
That was a great play from Miller. We've seen the middles today go all out with their setting, and it looks like Miller's going to get in on the fun, but it tricks up the defense for Central Michigan. She's able to put the ball down.
When in doubt, we've seen middles consent, but it's not their favorite thing to do. Quick set on the outside, good coverage there by Patterson. The tip game has been a little bit of an issue for Kent State. Do you think that has to do with how fast Central Michigan's tempo is?
I think a lot of it does have to do with that, especially on that second ball. They're not ready for it. But on that third ball, I think it's more that they're just expecting the middles to swing aggressively, which they've done today. So when they tip the ball, it just kind of changes things for them.
V-Hill blocks the tip attempt from Raymond, and some miscommunication. The ball falls to the hardwood for Kent State's point.
Kent State will take that point. They got a nice block touch on it. It was an error from Central Michigan how it came back to Kent State, but they're more than happy to get that point.
You would say Central Michigan needs to take advantage now with McGuire in the back row, but it's been Mercedes Brown that has been the more productive of the two outsides tonight. Back row attack from Swears is too long. Kent State with a 2-point advantage.
Kent State happy to see Swears missing on that ball. Only has 2 kills, but on her 8 attempts, she's swinging aggressively, so they aren't free points at all.
Great swing there by Thomas to no avail. Kent State covers. Langton likely bailed Kent State out there, and it's going to be the Flash's point. Probably the worst set of the night from Mill. If you're Kent State, you take it. Central Michigan, when they see this on tape the next day, probably just going to want to forget about it.
Great defense there from Kent State. Patterson with an incredible dig off of the middle, and then Mackenzie McGuire keeping it alive.
Raymond finds her spot once again. Raymond's up to 9 kills tonight. That's the most for any player on either team. Coming off that MAC Offensive Player of the Week performance, I'll ask you, after Central Michigan was playing their best volleyball, they looked unstoppable after the second set. We talked about how that long break could help Kent State. Could it hurt Central a little bit? And Ariel Wilson wants to talk it over. We'll talk about that, Marana, when we come back. Kent State trying to start to mount a comeback, and they're on the right track with a 7-4 lead in set 3. When we return, Flashes, Chippewas, more volleyball here on ESPN+. Set number 3, Central Michigan with their first timeout of the night. Marana, I just asked you right before our break, that long intermission between the second and third set, Central Michigan had all the momentum in the world. Not only did it help Kent State, but you take that much time off, you lose some of that momentum.
Central Michigan making a couple of costly errors in this set. Making a lucky error on that one as Schweers goes for the ball, trying to touch it and serve receive, but misses. So an error on her part, but a lucky error as it's a service error.
A perplexed look from Kent State head coach Haley Eckerman. She decides not to challenge. On target pass on the outside, Brown is blocked. She'll get it right back. Serves right into the defense. Down the line, on a play. And some of the danger of running such a fast tempo is you almost have so much space to work with if the blockers are late that you can sometimes hit it out of play. A little too much cut there down the line.
Kent State on that play, they were also blocking lines, so they weren't giving her a ton of room to work with, and just Kent State reads the ball.
This is the largest lead of the match Kent State has had. It's at 4. 2 straight errors from Central Michigan. They've already used a timeout.
So we see Molly Beatty come in to set for Mill. Mill struggling a little bit in the third set, so Beatty getting her shot here.
Interesting button to press when you're up 2-0. We'll get more on Beatty in a moment. McGuire couldn't do much with that in the back row. Point to Central Michigan. Beatty, freshman center from Indianapolis, Indiana. This Central Michigan team, Marana, started out the year in a 6-2, so Beatty does have 178 assists on the season. But the last game where she was truly that back row setter, that came against Bradley back in the second week of September. And since she's been in the game, Central Michigan 2 for 2.
Another error, another service ace for Central Michigan. Error there as we see Greta Bolognini coming in for Mackenzie McGuire. McGuire was looking a little bit uncomfortable before that as Coach Eckerman talks it over with her.
Right side, Moreland had a hole through the block. She wins it cross off the hands of Brooklyn Connor. Usually McGuire plays all the way around. You like to have her as a back row attack, but part of what has killed Kent State has been the serve and pass game, and Bolognini has been a libero most of the season.
You mentioned that, but Bolognini wasn't exactly playing serve receive.
That's true.
Something that Coach Eckerman talked about is it was a little bit much for her, and it was a lot of pressure for her mind, but she was more of a defensive-oriented passer. So then moving to that 2 libero system, Leslie Ferruta played that serve receive aspect of it, but seeing Greta Bolognini just kind of break up the play a little bit for Mackenzie McGuire, give her a little bit of a breather when she hasn't been having her best game so far.
Good placement on the serve from Ferruta. Back row set to Raymond. McGuire's back in on the front row, cannot convert. Down the middle and a roof. Combining on the block is McGuire and Kinley, and Kent State leads by 5.
McGuire doesn't get the ball down for a kill, but she gets a block, which is arguably a bigger momentum boost for her team.
Kinley had a big block early. That vaulted Kent State to a mini run in the first, but no one was really able to separate. Anderson is in the game as the libero, and a quick roll shot. You feel like there's been too many points where the Kent State defense has been caught standing still when they could easily get to that type of ball.
I would agree with what you just said there. Kent State has been getting beat by the tips and even just the light roll shots that any number of players could get, but
she needed that one.
Mackenzie McGuire lights it up on the court, has been quiet all day. She has 4 kills now, but that's the first one that truly meant something for her.
In system, just obliterating that ball into the floor. Central Michigan aiming for a response. Olin, great job using the hands of McGuire, but Kent State with an opportunity. Good placement by Moreland, and she wins the point.
Central Michigan expecting a free ball. They're in a 2-defender split there for that free ball. And Macy Moreland just decides she's gonna attack it with her hands. Gets a kill out of it.
Second time out of the set used by Central Michigan as Kent State, their largest lead of the match, up by 6, down 2-0. We talked to Coach Wilson early in the week, and she told us that coming over from a very talented SEC program in Missouri, very talented player herself, played for the national team in 2011 and 2013. She took this opportunity because of the second place finish that Central Michigan had last year. They went 24-7, 15-3 in the MAC. They finished second just behind Bowling Green. But those 24 wins, Marana, were the most in school history since 1984 when Central Michigan also had 24 wins. However, the season ended in the MAC semifinals. They had that bye, but Ball State bested them to go to the finale.
Last year, I had the opportunity to go to Central Michigan to watch the game against Kent State. And Central Michigan was so impressive last year. It's continued on this year. But one of their main points of emphasis that really made them stand out from the other teams was just their ability to run the middles. And I think that's something we've seen here today. They have 13 kills on 17 attempts for the middles.
Something we have seen Kent State eliminate at least a little bit more in this set. We've seen more hitting errors from Central Michigan, but their serve receive is much better. And when you're able to stay in system like that, it's going to prove to be better results. And Kent State leads by 6, trying to force a 4th set. Brenner on the serve. They go quick, and it's a point to Kent State. We're going to call it carry. We don't see that too often anymore, Murano.
It's a point of contention.
It always is.
Depending on which team you're on that point, if that ball's a carry or if it's a clean tip. A lot of it usually has to go with where they're connecting where the ball, where they're contacting it, and if they're pushing it forward from behind their head. But it's an interesting call to make at this point in the match. But Kent State is lucky with that, as they were beat once again by a tip.
Almost like a power tip that Connor tried to do there when she was called for the carry. Olin just got that kill, her 4th of the night. We'll see if Connor tries to go to that, and if she's more cautious when she does throughout the match. Good job by Central Michigan at the net. Raymond wins it. You need to be careful if you're Kent State. You are up by 5, but there's still a long way to go. Central Michigan does have time to slowly inch their way back into this.
Central Michigan is not out of it, but Kent State needs to clean up their side of the court. Service ace again for Central Michigan, as Kent State just out of rotation here, just struggling a little bit, needs to find a way to get this ball back. We see Macy Moreland almost go in to take this serve receive pass as well.
It goes to McGuire on target down the middle. Miller's got it.
Nadia Miller, we saw her a lot in that second set. Up now to 6 kills today, hitting 385. So in a game where Kent State hasn't hit their best necessarily, Nadia Miller has had an exceptional game.
Nadia Miller, when she hits over 300, Kent State's 6-1. To the outside, V-Hill gets her hands up there. Quick set in the middle, timing was off with Connor, and Kent State gets 2 right back.
Central Michigan just runs such a fast offense. This is a ball that Kent State was really bailed out on by the fact that Connor missed it in the net.
Patterson off the tape, settles into the arms of Swears. There's that fast tempo you were talking about. Good dig by Faruda. Olin rejected. What a block for Kent State. They deserve that one.
Kent State settling in this third set. Leslie Faruda keeping the ball alive. Raymond hits this ball hard. And then on the other side, Olin getting denied by Miller and McGuire.
Miller closed that block beautifully. 7-point lead for the Flashes. Outside, and a nice little stunt there ran by Connor. Really fooled the block for Raymond.
You mentioned it. This play by Central Michigan, it's a great disguise for Raymond, as she's that second hitter up, and blockers will tend to jump with the middle there, and she's just able to hammer it down that back line.
V-Hill, McGuire couldn't put it away. Raymond will.
Raymond was denied the one time by Leslie Faruda. 2 swings in a row. She's gonna get her kills.
Just how fast her arm swing is. It comes through like a lightning bolt.
It's easy to see how she was Offensive Player of the Week last week.
Backslide, Miller had room, hits the line judge, who is out of bounds. It's a 4-point game. This is the close Central has been since Ariel Wilson called that second timeout. The last time Central got within 4, Kent State responded with 3 in a row. Great pass, the set, McGuire makes the right decision to go soft with it, and she's got another kill.
It's a great play by McGuire. She started off in this match hitting soft shots like that, but since then, she started to go with more speed in her attack, swinging more aggressively. But on that one, She just does a nice soft touch, which Central Michigan isn't expecting.
5 kills tonight for McGuire, and a net violation on Kent State. Inches the Chippewas a little bit closer. That ball was going out of play. Hanging by a thread of the Chippewas here. Haley Eckerman still has 2 timeouts in her back pocket.
Last time around, Abby Olin missed her serve, which caused Coach Wilson to call that timeout.
Miller forces that through the block on the slide, and Kent State can start to smell it now.
Kent State edging closer and closer to that 25-point mark, but still 5 more points that they need to get.
Miller's serve has been excellent tonight. That trend continues as she earns her team a free ball. What the back set from Patterson. Raymond off the net, she can do it all.
We've seen exceptional setting from our non-setters here today. We talk about Patterson with a set.
It's almost inspirational, Murata. Makes me want to go set. Dane does volleyball, you never know.
Dane does volleyball?
It won't be as embarrassing, I promise.
Okay, not like wrestling?
No. Speaking of which, Taylor Kripe is actually a wrestler in high school. Outside for Central Michigan. Down the line, it's Thomas, and Central Michigan is within 3 here, and Haley Eckerman's going to use her first timeout.
Central Michigan right there, they're back in it. Forces Haley Eckerman to call a timeout, trying to slow some of the momentum that Central Michigan has just been slowly acquiring throughout this set. They got down pretty far, and now they've just been working their way back into the set, now within 3.
Within 3, and I mentioned Taylor Kripe, who plays front row outside, the freshman from Goodland, Indiana, went to South Newton High School. Her mom actually played college basketball at nearby Cleveland State from 1996 to 1998. Another one of those talented players. And I mentioned she wrestled in high school. If you've seen Dayton Does Wrestling, yes, I got pinned in 13 seconds by a 265-pound Division I wrestler. Nothing to be ashamed of. And you see it with a lot of volleyball players, and Kripe's an example. A lot of them multi-sport athletes, and not just volleyball, as you see Kripe leads the team in kills. And that is sometimes something coaches look for, because we see so much specializing early on, when there could be multiple movements that a teen or a kid grows up doing that can help them once they get to the collegiate level, and also help prevent injury.
Multi-sport athletes have become increasingly more common, and as we've seen in the collegiate game where there are athletes that will play multiple sports. We've seen it at Akron last year in the middle, playing both volleyball and basketball. So incredible to see athletes like this play here today.
And speaking of multi-sport athletes, she's not in the game right now, but Alina Anderson, who, if we get to that point, we'll talk about it in a moment. It's Mercedes Brown right out of the timeout. Much needed point for Kent State. A lot of space for Thomas, but she elects to go right into the hands of Brown. Off the top of the block. That's the power, even at 5'8", where the freshman can just find a way to swing through the block. This is a massive point coming up right here. If you can get within 2, you feel like you're right back in it.
This is a dangerous server for Kent State. Grace Thomas, aggressive on the serve. They struggled with her.
On the right side, tips, and it hit the antenna. Central Michigan all of a sudden within 2. Kent State's led by as many as 7 in this set. The Flashes had a huge lead in set 2 in their sweep over Miami. They let the Redhawks climb back in it, but narrowly won at 26-24. Moreland, great job seeing the court. You can see she's getting better and better at it, as Kent State with a sigh of relief to go up 3.
Moreland just finding that back corner on the tip. We've talked about it, but Moreland has improved a lot throughout this season. We see it in her numbers and how much more consistent she has grown as her young career has progressed.
Baruta keeps it in the court. In system, but Brenner eats that ball up. Ideal situation for the Chippewas, and Cripe delivers.
That ball just nailed down the line. Some of Kent State's athletes and coaches trying to say that ball was out, but Haley Eckerman will not use a challenge. But great defensive play earlier by Haley Brenner to keep the ball alive.
Still one timeout for the Flashes, none for Central. Right side, Moreland, she's been the key in this set, and Kent State's 2 points away from forcing a fourth.
When Kent State needs a play, they've gone to Macy Moreland. We talked about it at the start of the game as her impact player to watch, and she has done a phenomenal job. She now leads Kent State with 9 kills, so lived up to the expectation here today.
1 kill away from double-digit kills in 3 consecutive matches. The touch by McGuire gets right back up on the transition. Right off the top of the block, and it's going to be Central Michigan's point anyway.
Kent State needs to make sure they get out of this serve-receive rotation right away.
You have to assume a point here for Central to make it a 1-point game could prompt a timeout from Haley Eckerman. Squares on the service line. Can Moreland do it again? Yes, she can.
Izzy Swears already has 2 aces on the night. She almost had a third because that ball just hits the tape. Mackenzie McGuire able to get under it. And who else than Macy Moreland?
Set point for Kent State. After a really rough second set, the Flashes have come back with a vengeance to try to keep this thing going. And they will. An exclamation point on the third set as Vigil and Miller get the big time block, and we will play a fourth here inside the Mack Center.
That's one way to gain some momentum going into a fourth set. Kent State struggled a little bit at times, but what an exclamation mark.
25-21, the Flashes keep this thing going, trying to stay alive. Fourth set coming up next here on E+. Set number 4 coming on up. Kent State staying alive. And it's been Mercedes Brown on the outside. She's had another good night.
Mercedes Brown has been a consistent force for this Kent State team. Provides decent numbers each game, and tonight she was leading the team for most of the evening. Nadia Miller and Macy Moreland have since emerged, but Mercedes Brown providing a nice presence on the outside, complimentary to Mackenzie McGuire.
If Kent State can force a fifth or come back and get a reverse sweep in this one, they would technically move ahead of Central Michigan. They would both be tied at 4 and 6 in MAC play, and they would have that head-to-head tiebreaker for the time being. Of course, then if Kent State won this match, then tomorrow's winner obviously would jump ahead at a 5 and 6 record. But the MAC standings are tight. Kent State, as we take a look at the standings right now, they'll welcome in the undefeated Ball State Cardinals next weekend. So you have to think it's going to be tough to not only beat them twice, but beat the Cardinals once. So you have to try and take advantage, at least with 1, if not 2 wins this weekend. The Flashes do have to go to Western Michigan as well later on in their schedule. Central starts off in system, and they earn the first point. Brooklyn Connor on the tip. It was really the start of the third set where Central was out of rhythm, and it kind of carried through the entire way. They start off the right way this time.
It almost looked, though, as if they might have started out a little out of rhythm there, but she was able to hang in the air to get the kill, but it almost looked like a miss set.
That serve just landing out of play. Central is not used to challenge tonight. That call was awfully close. Both teams have controlled themselves in the service game. Only 4 service errors. Moreland was hot at the end of the third, and she stays that way to start the fourth.
Moreland just powering through the block there. Almost looked like one of the plays we've seen earlier in the game where she's a little bit out of sorts with her approach and then ends up getting blocked.
Tough set for Mill. Somehow manages to keep it going. McGuire can't finish it. Does V-Hill go back to her? She goes to the middle. Miller couldn't hit it. Good coverage by Faruda, and Miller was a little bit undecided. It's tied at 2.
Great up there by Faruda. We've talked about how Kent State has struggled with the tip defense. Faruda finds a way to pick it up, but Miller trying to go over on this ball and sends it into the net.
Down the middle, Miller. This time she finds the spot on the line. We haven't seen too often. We've seen the slide a little bit, but just that quick ball right away down the middle. Kent State hasn't had a ton of success with it tonight, probably because they haven't been able to run it too much.
Miller is a player who will run the ball all over the net. She'll run in front of the setter, behind the setter. And like you said, we hadn't seen that in front of the setter one ball much tonight.
Another dump, another kill for Keelan Mill. She's been very resourceful tonight when she's decided to dump.
Kent State has not been ready for it at all.
Back slide this time, too much room. Grace Thomas. And Thomas was a Kent State killer last year. In one of the 2 Central Michigan wins against the Flashes, Thomas hit .722 with 13 kills on 18 attempts and no errors. That's some performance. She'll get another chance here, but it's covered by Brenner. Little slide action, and Miller hit it too long.
Miller hoping for a touch there, but isn't able to get any of the Central hands, as Central going on a little bit of a run. Kent State has to find a way to stop any momentum that Central is gaining now.
First ball was to the middle. McGuire gets the Chippewas out of system, and some discombobulated players at the front of the net. But Kent State still wins the point. McGuire will always take that.
McGuire, another player that needs to get hot here in this fourth set. If Kent State wants to push a fifth, she does it here.
And what I was talking about, discombobulated, an overpass where V-Hill and Miller almost collided into each other. And thankfully for Kent State, they were able to keep that play alive. Net violation, kill went to the floor anyway. Central back up by 2.
Raymond staying aggressive, pushing through the block. Kent State in the net regardless has to find a way to clean up those unforced errors.
Raymond's up to 15 kills. Her career high is 20. Starting to approach that mark. Hill with a late push. Back row, oh my, Raymond, number 16.
You can't leave the net open for Raymond when she's in the back row. Kent State has to find a way to put a blocker up on this ball as Miller just gets beat going for the slide.
And an ace as Central has vaulted themselves to a 4-point lead. Back to finding some of that momentum they had in the first couple of sets.
Kent State can't let this one get away from them early on.
Goes right after McGuire, this pass on target. Brown, what a play to earn that point.
Brown, a tough ball for her to hit, but just punches it through to the block and gets it off the antenna of their arms.
Not the best set by Hill, a little tight to the pin. She had to contort her body. It's a huge point. Could be 9-4, instead it's only a 3-point game. Way too much space. A good touch by Miller, but once again, this fast tempo is leaving the Kent State block incredibly vulnerable.
It's just a great ball on Kent State, Central Michigan's side there, and Nadia Miller does about all she can.
Forcing it to the back row, McGuire. Outside, a great tip. Central up by 5, both coaches with 2 timeouts. Like you said, Marana, you're starting to get into the zone where Kent State needs to punch back with a couple here. Because if the deficit becomes 6 and 7, it becomes really difficult. Hill, Brown, another tool for Mercedes Brown, as she's keeping Kent State slowly but surely alive here in this 4th set.
Mercedes Brown just trying to find whatever way she can to score as Macy Moreland comes back into the game as Christina Hill back at the service line. So Kent State trying to use this to their advantage.
And out of play. It's one of those serves. Kent State hasn't missed many, but when they have, they've been very timely tonight.
As you said, we talked about it earlier, Leslie Ferruta's service error in the first set, timely. This one as Kent State hoping to gain some momentum. Christina Hill misses.
And Central gives it right back.
Kent State will take that all day long.
And now you're in a rotation where this is probably the most favorable rotation you feel like Kent State could make a run. You have 3 hitters and you have McGuire up front, although McGuire hasn't been her normal self statistically tonight. Tough set on the outside. McGuire got a piece. Moreland keeps it alive. Outside, great dig by Ferruta. One of the longer rallies we've had tonight. And Raymond from the back row. Still no block. Kent State was much more alert on that attempt. Moreland reaching a little bit too far.
Almost too alert that time as Moreland goes for that ball. Doesn't think Hill is ready for it, but as Hill slides right behind her.
Ginley, what a spot.
Madeline Ginley has been quiet today. That's just her 3rd kill of the day. Only 8 attempts, so doing pretty well, but looking to get her more involved as she rotates off.
Ginley was quiet in the games against Miami last weekend on the road, hitting-wise, but she really made her presence felt at the net. 9 blocks in those 2 games, and the dump time and time again. I'll tell you what, when Mill has decided to dump, she's at about probably an 800 percentage.
She's done a great job just seeing the defense. You have to think Kent State is going to try and work on that, but it's not exactly something you can work on because you aren't expecting the dump.
Miller goes right into the block. Central leads by 6 and a timeout by Haley Eckerman and Kent State. The Golden Flashes have to regroup fast if they want to avoid a 4-set loss at home to the hands of the Chippewas. We'll step away. More college volleyball on E+ coming right up. Get all of ESPN College Volleyball all in one place with the all-new ESPN app. Unlock the ESPN Unlimited plan or log in with your TV provider on ESPN Plus this evening. So I assume most of those viewing us tonight using the ESPN app. Central Michigan has captured the momentum they had, especially in the second set. 11 points away from a 4-set win. Nadia Miller, all the space in the world, and she doesn't miss.
Nadia Miller is a player that is going to keep Kent State in this game. Macy Moreland wasn't able to get any attempts when she was on the court.
Credit to Central Michigan for that. Out of the timeout, it's exactly what Kent State was looking for, though. That's tough. We've said it before, and it's happened now twice in this set, where Kent State gets a momentum-changing kill, and they can't put it in the court on the next play. Hill to the slide, Miller tips. Back over, Miller is rejected up front. Keelan Mill has had quite the 4th set. This is just a reactionary play. She's not supposed to be blocking the middle. Continuing to go to Nadia Miller, and she forces her way on that kill, bringing Kent State back within 6. But we're gonna have to see some type of run, and now you get McGuire out of the back row. Brown has been decent tonight. I think the biggest thing now, you gotta keep the ball in the court.
Exactly that. Mackenzie McGuire needs to keep this serve in.
She does. There's that tempo though, Kent State with the block. Back row is Swears, there is Brenner. Another back row attack, and that's on a play. Kent State will take it, but Marana, how do you think Kent State should approach that from here on out? Because there's still so much space for either Swears or Raymond hitting in that.
Kent State was able to block it on the first attempt from the back row attack, but the second one, I just don't think they were expecting her to go back there.
McGuire covers the tip, V. Hill pushes it over. There's the slide, Patterson got a piece, but not much you can do there if you're the freshman.
A great kill down the line, just playing aggressive. Grace Thomas has done a phenomenal job in her sophomore season.
She's hitting 600 tonight, 10 kills, 15 attempts. And another service ace, this one from Raymond. Certainly the player of the game if you had to choose one for either team. That's Raymond's 3rd ace, 17 kills, hitting .295 on the outside. Also 12 digs. An effort by Patterson, timing was off with Brown. Beautiful block by Nadia Miller, and she's single-handedly here. You don't want to say single-handedly, but she has made a number of plays to prevent this from getting out of reach.
Since Miller came in this rotation, she has just done a phenomenal job, both offensively and there defensively, as she goes back to the service line. She's had a phenomenal service day as well.
On the tip, Thomas with her 11th kill. It puts Patterson in a tough spot there because Thomas just swung away down the line and then she goes with the tip. Patterson though with a good pass there. Back row, McGuire cannot deliver. Oh, she will. It hit the top of the scoreboard off to Kent State's side, and the Flashes back within 6.
Kent State has benefited from their scoreboard a couple times today. It's not necessarily a low scoreboard, but Central Michigan has been passing the balls quite high and ricocheting them off the board.
D-Hill goes short with her serve outside, and that's in. Taylor Kripe wanted the line, she got it, and Central Michigan's 5 points away from a victory. These two teams will meet here tomorrow, same time, same place. Appreciate you hanging out with us tonight. Dane Richardson, Marana Burles with you. Out of the back row, McGuire gets Central out of system. And now has to be the run here for Kent State. Central still with 2 timeouts. Haley Eckerman has 1. You get McGuire back in the front row. Moreland's back in the front. We saw this rotation last time. Can Kent State take advantage? Garuda, an excellent serve. Out of system are the Chippewas. And a hitting air out of play by Kripe gets the Flashes within 5.
That's a play that Kent State will take all day long. Leslie Fruta does a nice job getting her serve in, but then also having an aggressive serve. And it ends up forcing Central Michigan to take a timeout.
An early timeout for Ariel Wilson, but she probably wants to stop the bleeding before it even starts. Central Michigan by 5. And you take a look at Natalia Raymond. Her career high is 20 kills. She's got 17 tonight, and she has been magnificent. You can see standing at only 5'10", a variety of shots, but when she's in system, that fast arm swing is so tough to block at the net.
She has done a phenomenal job just swinging aggressively, then mixing up with a roll shot, which Kent State has struggled all day to defend against. It's crazy to think that Raymond's career high is 20 kills when she had 19 last week in a 3-set match. So Raymond knows how to get hot and get fired up for her team.
We talked to Coach Wilson about Raymond, her winning Offensive Player of the Week, and she didn't get to play much throughout the preseason, dealt with an injury, and she just said her confidence has really come through for her team as a senior leader, and she wants to end her senior season with a bang. She understood she's a first-team All-MAC player, attributed to a lot of that success a season ago for the Central Michigan team that went 15-3 in the MAC, but she's one of those key returners that wanted to make an impact and not only get Central Michigan back to the MAC tournament, but do some damage there as well. An effective timeout.
Kent State unable to keep their serves in when they need it the most. It's a tale from Kent State that they've heard time and time again this season, especially this past weekend as well.
Excellent pass from Brenner. Kinley's back in, a great dig by Anderson. Kinley gets it right back. Anderson continues to deny her. Will the third time be the charm for KSU? McGuire will try, and she hit the antenna. That is fantastic defense by Alina Anderson, and Kent State calls a timeout.
Alina just keeps this ball alive twice. Kinley has 2 great swings on these, but just in the right spot, great reaction time, and also a reaction from her team. Olin there to keep that ball alive, and McGuire trying to get crafty, trying to go down the line, but hit the antenna.
Central Michigan now 3 points away from a 4-set victory. It's a team that has started to find their hot streak, and you can see why they're so difficult to defend when they get going. Haley Eckerman said one of the keys was keeping this Central team out of system. And for Kent State's liking, they haven't been out of system enough tonight.
Kent State has struggled to get in system Central Michigan has been serving them off the court. 10 aces and 5 errors. Kent State has had 5 aces, so a decent number there, but the 7 service errors have really piled up at certain times.
A number of seniors for the Central Michigan team. Brooklyn Connor, one of their middles, Abby Olin, who we'll talk about a little bit more tomorrow. Middle blocker, listed as a middle blocker outside, but she's playing on the right side. Anderson's actually a libero. And of course, Raymond, who we've mentioned a lot tonight. 3 points away for the Chippewas. Moreland right side. Central Michigan has really closed her off much more here in the 4th set. Olin goes with the tip. McGuire pushes it back. Opportunity for the flashes. Ginley, another great spot. You don't need to hit it that hard when there's that much open court.
Penn State with some reactionary blocking there on those second touches, and Ginley just finding the corner, keeping her eyes open.
Olin right side, split Brenner and Ferruda. Great spot in the Chippewas, inch a little bit closer.
Olin looks like she readjusts in her approach there and decides to go for that line spot, and she finds success.
6 kills tonight for Olin, who spent much of the season as a middle. Ferruda overpass, my goodness. Grace Thomas has been incredible tonight.
Grace Thomas, we've talked about her all night long. 12 kills now in impressive fashion, hitting .588.
Match point. Can McGuire keep the flashes alive? Yes, she can. Making it a 24-17 game for McGuire. That is her 9th kill, so she now moves into 6th place all-time in program history in kills with 1,216. So congratulations to Mackenzie. Outside looking for the finisher. Raymond can't find it. McGuire looks for 2 in a row, and she's got double-digit kills.
McGuire finding some fire late in this 4th set, trying to keep her team alive as Nadia Miller, once again with the hands there for the set.
Why not?
If it works, go for it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say. 3rd match point for CMU. B-Hill, McGuire, and a block in play, and that'll do it. Central Michigan 25-18. They win the 4th set and improve to 500 in MAC play. Winners of 4 in a row. Started 1-5 in conference play, now 5-5. Kent State, after their win against Miami, drops to 3-7 overall. The tempo of Central Michigan's system, Kent State just couldn't figure it out tonight.
Central Michigan better than their record shows, as we saw that here today. As a team, hit 275, but the middles, for example, Grace Thomas hitting 647. Will be someone to take a look out for tomorrow, as well as Brooklyn Connor adding another 8 there. So Central Michigan middles combining for 20 kills. Of course, Natalie Raymond leading the team with 17.
The serve and pass game was a key tonight, but as we look forward to tomorrow, what can Kent State do differently to try and flip this result?
You mentioned it, it's a serve and pass game. They struggled in serve receive. We saw that with the amount of aces that Central Michigan had, and just being able to control the ball on your side of the court. I think since seeing Central Michigan here today, Kent State will have that expectation of really how fast they run their offense, and Kent State will hopefully adjust to the block a little bit more and just their blocking game.
Central Michigan winners 3-1. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow night. But it was the Chippewas, the better team in 4. For Marana Burles, I'm Dane Richardson saying so long from the Mack Center in Kent, Ohio. Your final score, Central Michigan 3 sets, Kent State 1. All games airing on the ESPN networks are streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.